Hey folks, hey, hi, it's been a minute. Hi, how's everyone doing? How are we? How's everybody doing? It's been a minute. I don't know, 3 weeks, give or take. I got this glass from one of my besties, Jordan. Thank you, Jordan. It's always Gemini season in my heart. Hi, you missed me? I did. I missed y'all. I still have not fixed my hair. I gave myself a trim earlier. Also, I may or may not have asked Josh to stop on the way home, to stop at Claire's to pick up some butterfly clips. You will soon know why. Well, you'll already know why I wanted butterfly clips, because you've seen the title of this video. Today we're going to be digging into the makeup archives, and I have decided that I'm going to kind of expand more than makeup, because I've done that the last couple of times where I'm like, everything in fashion, in style, in beauty, in all of that is all related. But if you couldn't tell based on my general appearance, I wasn't about to crimp my hair because A, I don't have a crimper, and B, I don't have a crimper. We're gonna be looking at Y2K and early 2000s makeup brands, fashion icons, and everything that goes along with it, because that was the time that I came of age, I guess. I was born in the year 1989. So in the year 2002 is when I hit the age of 13, and the hormones came a-raging in, the cup sizes grew quite quickly, and my music taste changed drastically. I started out an NSYNC fangirl, and I ended up being really into like Good Charlotte and like Avril Lavigne. But we're not talking about music from the early 2000s today. We're talking about makeup, hair trends, and fashion from the early 2000s. But before we go any further, please give this video a like if you do like it at any point during this video. And then if you would like to follow me and follow more of my shenanigans here on this channel, subscribe. That would be fantastic. So if you want to subscribe, that would be cool. And then links to all my other social media are down in the description. Most of them are all Abbers07 except for Twitch. But today's video has a sponsor, so we will jump to Avril Abigail. Abigail, take it away. Today's video is sponsored by Warby Parker. Now, I've been using Warby Parker for, I don't even know how many years at this point, 7, maybe 8. Warby Parker isn't only committed to providing exceptional vision care in stores, whether that's through eyeglasses or sunglasses, but you can also get eye exams and contact lenses both in store, and then you can order all that stuff online. And I love their online system. You get to take a quiz that kind of gets your preferences. You will see kind of what styles you like, what colors you like, what shapes, and they'll give you some options to pick from if you've never chosen any glasses from them before. I've done the home try on a countless number of times. But what I really love is that you actually get sent the 5 free pairs to try on at home, and you get it for a full week, and they send you back a free shipping label that you just slap back on the package when you're ready to send it back. And all their glasses start at $95, including prescription lenses. Besides the glasses, they also have a variety of contact lenses, including AccuView and Biofinity, and then they have their own in-house brand of dailies called Scout. So if you are more of a contact person, or if you switch between the two, you can get all of those things in one place. It's a one-stop shop for glasses and contact lenses and sunglasses. I love the boxes that it comes in. This one is Hayden. This is more of a rectangular frame. These are Delphine. These ones I like a lot too. Like, I don't have any tortoise shell glasses, but I might need to get some. These next ones are kind of similar to a pair that I already have, but I wanted to try them on anyway, and I think they're so cute. This is the Style Faye. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's so cute. They remind me of grandma glasses, and I kind of love them. This is Haze. This is a shape that is similar to ones that I have, but it's a shape that works. I think these ones look so freaking cool. Oh, these ones are so cool. I love them. I love the light plastic frames. So if you would like to try Warby Parker and do one of their 5 at-home try-on kits, the home try-on kits don't have international shipping. Unfortunately, it is US only, so keep that in mind. But if you would like to try any of these, go to warbyparker.com/Abby. That is warbyparker.com warbyparker.com/ABBY. You can check for all the locations on their website as well by also using that link, warbyparker.com/Abby. So if you need to check up on any of the retail locations or do anything on their website, use that link.
So these ones, they feel small, but...
Those are the medium. The round on you is a bit much. This one, when you tried it on the other day, these ones you liked. These are Hayden.
Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker.
Do you like sand?
No.
You like these ones though?
Yes, I like these a lot. These ones I like. So yeah, these are kind of like
cool guy glasses.
The normal kind of sunglasses that I would get. So
they're a little rounder than the ones that you've had before, but I think they look cool. Okay. I got Hayes, Hayden, Paulton, Faye.
So these were the ones where I was like, I don't know about these for me.
But they look really cool on me.
They look great on you.
You only own sunglasses. You don't own regular glasses. So.
Yeah, as of right now, I probably. So.
We need to go get your eyes checked then.
At Warby Parker, because Warby Parker locations also do eye exams.
Thanks again to Warby Parker for sponsoring today's video. I very much appreciate it. Definitely go check the link down in the description down below. Now let's go back to Abigail from yesterday. Back to you. Thank you, Admiral Abigail. We'll see you next week. I have notes this time. Look at me. Abigail has notes for a video. Let me open up my notes. It's quite long, actually. Like, look. For those of you who may be Gen Z or younger millennials, let me give you a refresher or just some of my own personal experience and personal knowledge of the looks and the overall trends that kind of permeated the early 2000s. A lot of them actually carried over from the late 90s when it came to like frosted everything, when it came to overly plucked eyebrows. The plucking got a little bit more intense in the early 2000s. I wasn't about to actually pluck my brows to smithereens, but it existed and it happened. And many of us are still dealing with the consequences of overplucking our eyebrows at the age of 13. So please, I beg of you, teenagers of today, don't overpluck your eyebrows because they will never grow back. You will regret it in 20 years, I swear. But the frosted looks became more frosted, the brows became skinnier. Blush started blowing up in the early 2000s. I feel like a lot of brands kind of launched more blushes. We will get to specific ones very soon. Lots of blush, lots and lots of bronzer. If you have watched any of those videos where people do like, I do my makeup like the early 2000s, they just cake their face in bronzer, whether it was self-tanner or a too dark foundation or powder bronzer. A lot of the looks ended up looking very orange. I never ended up doing that, but I also didn't really wear makeup in the early 2000s. So any of those videos where it'd be like, oh, I did my makeup how I did in middle school. I didn't wear makeup in middle school. Colors that were a lot more 90s centric. There were a lot more browns. The early 2000s went into more grays, more blues, more kind of charcoals and silvers. There's this iconic photo of Paris Hilton wearing silver eyeshadow all over her lid. It's actually a very pretty silver, but it is a very stark kind of platinum aluminum foil type silver. It looks like she took foil and shoved it on her eye. But a lot of those kind of tones with very dark water lines, very frosted everything, frosted lips. Frosted lips were all the rage. I am wearing a very light, it's not necessarily a frosty lipstick because I don't own a frosty lipstick, but I put like a frosty lip gloss over the top with like a white shimmer. Very like shimmery brow bones. Those carried on for at least a decade. I feel like if you look at early YouTube makeup community, a lot of shimmery brow bones were very regular, very commonplace. And that started in the late 90s and really hit its peak in the early 2000s. The one thing that I think is very interesting about the early 2000s, and this might just be the fact that I was like completely aware and like sentient enough to understand the difference in these like styles, you had kind of this convergence within pop culture where preppy and glam kind of broke off from each other, and then you had like emo. So you had like the punkier girls, you had the emo kids where like Green Day's American Idiot came out, and then everybody started wearing like black eyeliner all over their lids. And then Avril Lavigne was like the it girl of 2002, at least in my age range. We loved Avril Lavigne. We stand Avril Lavigne. Skater Boy is great. I'm With You is still good. I'm With You is so good. Like, I'm With You is amazing. 20 years later, it's a 20-year-old song.
Feel old yet? I do.
Jumping into beyond just the pop stars and the celebrities of the early days, creating those iconic style moments and those iconic makeup moments, I can just remember them in my head. You had the movies of that era as well. I touched a little bit on Wish Upon a Star in my last video because it technically came out in the late 90s, but in the early 2000s is really when it started getting played over and over and over again on Disney Channel. But this was right around when the Disney Channel original movies were really getting good. Good is relative. When I think of good, I think of like Brink, Johnny Tsunami. Wish Upon a Star is one of those movies that I feel like most people don't even remember much about the film besides the looks. Because you had these two characters, Haley and Alex, who were sisters. It was kind of like a Freaky Friday moment type thing where one of them wished to be the other sister, then they woke up and they were switched bodies. The whole kind of conflict that came between these two was that the younger sister was way more kind of like grungy and tomboyish and didn't really care about her style and her makeup and her hair. And then her older sister put in a lot of time and a lot of work, and her looks were iconic. Oh my god. Like, I want to make a sim that looks exactly like Alex from Wish Upon a Star. This was one of Katherine Heigl's very first roles. There's this scene in the movie, the very first scene is it's set so well where you see how much time and care she puts into her fashion. She has her closet all organized. She has a desk, a vanity that's all set up. She does her hair very specifically, and she walks down just looking like a queen. The late 90s, early 2000s, oh my gosh. And then after they make their wish, after they switch bodies, the younger sister, who now is in the body of the older sister, wears clothes that are really unkempt. She doesn't wash her hair. She doesn't brush her hair. She doesn't do her makeup. And then the older sister, who's now in the body of the younger sister, wears like full-on like leather. Like, where did they get those? But that was a movie that has a very specific, clear kind of style memory in my brain, which brings me to Josie and the Pussycats. Josie and the Pussycats is a movie before its time in every sense of the word. Josie and the Pussycats is amazing. I love it. I wanted to be all of them. I wanted to be all of Josie and the Pussycats. They were the coolest girls. They made the coolest music, and they had the coolest hair. And that movie, besides being like just an iconic style moment, it also kind of shined a light and really played into that kind of narrative that pop stars and celebrities are really shaping how young people are dressing, how they wear their hair, what makeup they're wearing, what they do, what they buy. It's so self-referential and so weirdly poignant for being a 20-year-old movie. But so much animal print in that movie, so many flared jeans, so many crop tops, so many sparkles. So many sparkles and so many highlights. Oh, Josie and the Pussycats. If you've never seen it, I highly recommend it. Oh, I love it so much. I love it so much. And the music is fantastic in it. Because you have Letters to Cleo actually does the music in it. Like the band that does I Want You to Want Me at the end of 10 Things I Hate About You, they are Josie and the Pussycats in that movie. Like, they are playing the music, which I think is so cool. But yeah, Josie and the Pussycats was another iconic style movie, and just music, perfect moment in history, perfect snapshot of just pop culture and where it was going. And that everything was being sent subliminally through pop music, and that you will buy these things, and that you will dye your hair this color, and you will go see this concert, and you will buy all of this music, and you will idolize these people. It was so smart. It was just so smart, and it really knew what was to come. Not literally, because like I don't think they're literally putting subliminal messages in pop music, but that's basically what marketing is. After Josie and the Pussycats, we go back to Disney movies. Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century. Xenon is another kind of iconic style movie because it's set in, I think, the year that we're currently in. I think it's supposed to be set in like 2022 or 2023. I don't quite remember. But Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century was one of Disney's other fantastic Disney Channel original movies that was about this family living on a space station in space, in the future, and all of their clothes were made out of like rubber and PVC pipes and bright colors, and that's it. It was so many sparkles, it was so much gray, silver, holographic everything.
Cetus Lapidus! Cetus Lapidus! Cetus Lapidus! Cetus Lapidus! Cetus Lapidus! Oh, Cetus Lapidus!
That's the funniest thing about those movies, about the early 2000s and that Y2K era that was so obsessed with the future and futuristic style, is that all of their ideas of futuristic style was still based on like 20-year-old movies. If they really made a movie about a futuristic, realistic 2022, it would be a very different movie than Xenon Girl of the 21st Century. We would not be worried about Protozoa dancing with Xenon or Nebula at the end of the movie and whether or not the space station was gonna shut down. Can you tell I've seen this movie so many times? And then my final style queen of the early 2000s, which brands have capitalized on, sometimes not in the best way, sometimes not always the most accurate, Lizzie McGuire. When you think of Lizzie McGuire, you think of maximalist everything. You think sparkles. You think
like all of the hair clips. You think crimped hair. You think leather jackets. You think floral on floral, layer upon layer, and just all of the things combined into one outfit.
Lizzie was stylish, okay? I literally wrote down next to Lizzie McGuire, maximalist everything. I need more lip gloss. This is the white lip gloss I have on.
The products.
Makeup in the early 2000s was chaos. A lot of it rolled over, like I said, from the late 90s. You had stuff like frosted eyeshadows. I've got a frosty eyeshadow from Shroud Cosmetics on my eyes, and then just like a very light blue eyeliner on my brow bone with a sparkly on top. Lots of blush and lots of bronzer. In the early 2000s, you had a lot of those makeup brands that were started at the end of the 90s, brands like Benefit, Urban Decay, Tarte, really kind of gaining momentum. And the main reason why they gained momentum is Sephora. It's technically the company is older, but Sephora, their first store, like standalone store, was launched in 1998 in New York City, and then they moved to online in 1999, which, imagining the 1999 Sephora store, oh, what I would have done to have seen that. A couple years later, they launched in Canada. So Canada's website launched in 2003, and then their first flagship store in Toronto is in 2004. So really that was when it kind of bumped up the momentum, because before then, when it came to bigger brand and like more expensive higher end brands, you either were going to department stores, which weren't really cool for the kids, or you were going to your mom's Avon parties or your mom's friend's Avon parties, or your friend's mom had Mary Kay that she needed to offload. My best friend's mom was a Mary Kay lady. My best friend's mom was a Mary Kay lady, and she was the only mom that wore makeup. Hello.
Like and subscribe.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
She was literally the only one of my friends' moms that wore makeup. Like, my mom didn't wear makeup. One of my best friend's mom really never wore makeup. But this friend's mom, she always did her hair. Their house always smelled really good. And she always wore makeup. There was so much Mary Kay in her house. But after that is when you got past the, like, infomercials and the MLMs and the department stores with Sephora. In 2004, e.l.f. started. e.l.f. started in 2004. I remember first buying e.l.f. products. My mom like brought them home, like a bag full of e.l.f. stuff one time from like some sample sale thing. I don't quite remember exactly. I remember she was very excited by how cheap it was. And then Coastal Scents actually launched in 2005. Rest in peace. Which is funny because both of them were so inexpensive. And e.l.f. started out with their really inexpensive brushes, as well as the just like single shadows and then the single blushes. They didn't change up that for a while. They kind of stuck with that for a while, but I remember getting like a little 4-pan quad and putting in like, there was a white frosty eyeshadow, a brown frosty eyeshadow, a black frosty eyeshadow, and then I think I had a pink in there. And I had that for a while. I had that little eyeshadow quad for a while. The launch of Sephora and the growth of Sephora happened pretty quickly. And so when all of that started happening, you had a lot more people getting into higher end makeup. But in the drugstore, there were still so many brands and so many products that were all the rage. You had brands like Lip Smackers from Bonnie Bell, the Dr. Pepper lip balm, loved it. The Lip Sour lip glosses.
The flip gloss?
Do you guys remember Flip Gloss? It looked like a little, like, vape pen of lip gloss. It was just the funniest looking little thing. But it was so fun because it was just the best way to fidget. It was pre-fidget spinners. It was fidget flip gloss. It looked like a little lighter. You would flip it up, and then it was in a tube, and then you would just apply it, and we did it obsessively. And everything smelled good. Everything smelled like food in the early 2000s. Everything smelled like food. Whether it was like vanilla, chocolate, minty, strawberry, or sour candy. You could not get a lip product in the drugstore, especially a lip gloss, unless it tasted like something sweet. But the other like staple products that really like had a stranglehold on the drugstore and places like Target in the early 2000s, the L'Oreal Rouge Pulp Liquid Lip Color. This was actually one of the first liquid lipsticks that ever existed in the drugstore. I didn't even realize that. I wasn't buying lipstick at the time. This was pre me buying lipstick. I did not buy lipstick. I bought lip gloss, and that was it. I did not have lipsticks. I had lip gloss. I don't even remember. I think the first lipstick I ever bought was like a Maybelline, like baby pink thing in high school. But I don't remember what it was or when it was specifically. But these little liquid lip stick things, very big. Jane Cosmetics. I had so many people mention Jane Cosmetics. They're like, you have to talk about Jane Cosmetics. I will make a whole video when I talk about discontinued brands. We will talk about Jane. But Jane was also all the rage in the early 2000s. You had beauty products like the Jergens Natural Glow lotion, self-tanning lotion. People were putting on their face even back then, which you shouldn't put body self-tanner on your face. It's not good for your skin. The Herbal Essences commercials made Herbal Essences just the shampoo to buy. Do you guys remember those? They made like the most suggestive commercials where it made it seem like people were just like having some fun me time in the shower besides just washing their hair.
I've got the urge.
She's got the urge to burble. She ran the purple in the shower. For another half an hour. She's got the urge.
It was that girl. But then you had like Warm Vanilla Sugar was like the scent from Bath and Body Works. Pre-Warm Vanilla Sugar was like Cucumber Melon. Like Cucumber Melon was the scent of the 90s. Warm Vanilla Sugar was the scent of the early 2000s. Victoria's Secret Love Spell was a huge fragrance of the time. Hugely popular. Like I feel like everybody's house I went over to who had any sort of fragrances at all, they had Victoria's Secret Love Spell or Britney Spears Curious. Like those were the two fragrances of the early 2000s. J.Lo Glow came out very, very shortly after those ones. Celebrities had perfumes in the late 90s and early 2000s. They have whole makeup lines now. Back then, that was perfumes. Oh my God. Everybody had perfumes. So, everyone had a perfume. But those few, definitely the most popular. But three of the probably more popular and bigger products that came out around that time in Sephora specifically. Hoola from Benefit, which may or may not have been to blame for the bronzer explosion of the early 2000s where everybody started putting bronzer all over their face. I don't know. Hoola bronzer came out and got pretty big around that time, and it's still around. It's still very popular. It took them way too long to come out with different shades of Hoola, which says a lot about Benefit, but I've already said my piece about that many times. Lancome Juicy Tubes. Oh my gosh. Lancome Juicy Tubes were the lip glosses. The Lancome Juicy Tubes and then the MAC lip gel. MAC had a tubey lip gloss too. Lancome Juicy Tubes were the fanciest and the most popular of the lip glosses. They're so iconic. Just looking at the pictures of the Juicy Tubes, it sends me back. And then, this was actually kind of a funny story.
NARS Orgasm.
Technically, it came out in 1999 when NARS launched that color. But because Sephora didn't really become as big of a thing until a couple years later, that's really when it got like really big. And actually there's this quote from Francois Nars himself that says, "I designed the first orgasm blush the way I design all my colors. It just happened that Nars fans fell in love with the name and the color. It didn't seem that daring, but everyone loved it. When I named it, it always felt like it was a good way to actually get an orgasm by just buying the blush. So why not? I wanted something a bit audacious. Who's gonna just have an orgasm from buying a blush? But I mean, I guess it's a pun. It's a play on, oh, bought this orgasm, ha 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 ha. But that blush is still like, that blush is holding NARS afloat, okay? Like, both holding NARS afloat and holding them at gunpoint. With how much NARS puts into orgasm everything in that brand, I don't know why they keep doing it, but they keep doing it, and it's been over 20 years at this point, so I don't know. MAC kind of hit their golden age really when they started coming out with a lot of collections. The retro matte Ruby Woo was that girl. I think that was Gwen Stefani's lip color. I think that was the lip color that she wore. But so many times when you would see celebrities be like, oh, wearing a red lipstick, and they'd be like, oh, what is that? MAC's Ruby Woo. And MAC really was one of the only brands that at the time, at least in early YouTube, based on my experience from early YouTube, they were one of the only brands that had kind of like everything that you would need. They had a huge range of everything. They had a huge range of a lot of stuff. And so you had people who were just getting into makeup beyond the drugstore. They would go to MAC because that's what they knew. And that was that's where they could find things. Just remembering when I first started making makeup videos and when makeup YouTube first really like started happening, maybe in like 2007, like people would have whole collections of MAC lipsticks, and they would have just collections of MAC because MAC was one of the only brands in the US, at least in Canada, that you could have like a big collection of stuff. I'm gonna do my MAC lipstick collection. So here's Viva Glam 1, there's On Hold, there's Cream Cup, there is Impassioned, this bright pink dude here. Here's Rebel, Craving, Goes and Goes, Viva Glam 5, you can kind of see, there it goes. Hibiscus, which I'm also wearing, and Watch Me Simmer. I think what happened with MAC for the longest time was they held that philosophy of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they didn't. And this was when it was still working and when it was still pretty cool and when MAC was one of the leaders in the industry when it came to makeup products that were a little bit higher end than drugstore. As well as makeup products, there are also a plethora of hair products, hair accessories. Besides the clips, the like butterfly clips and these kind of clips and all kinds of twisty bead type clippy things that we would put in our hair, stuff like hairagami.
Now experience the art of folding hair with Hairagami, the snap action design tool for creating beautiful hair fashions with ease.
Where it was like it was like a slap bracelet that you rolled your hair up in. And then it made it into a weird bun. There were like infomercials, late night commercials about the hairagami, the bump it, and then crimping. You just did everything to your hair possible to make it less healthy. Crimping, flat ironing it to the point where it was just stick straight, so fried, so lifeless, not even shiny anymore. We fried the crap out of our hair. We crimped it, we straightened it, chunky highlights. The tiger stripe highlights. Oh my god. Tiger stripe highlights. There's a lot of hair trends that I'm like totally fine with coming back and I feel like could totally work. But tiger stripe highlights, please stay gone forever. Never come back. Oh my gosh. Everyone had it. Like everyone had it.
It was so bad.
There was just a lot of stuff being done to hair. Our hair said, can we look alive? And we said, no, we're not going to let you look alive and healthy. We are going to make you as straight and as flat and as spiky as possible. Same thing goes for men's hair. Frosted tips, the spiky gelled hair. Why was that a thing? Why was that ever a thing? We thought our hair looked bad? Guys' hairs in the early 2000s looked really bad. Now, to the last part of this video, I asked on Twitter for people to let me know what your first makeup memories are. Specifically, I asked millennials because of the time frame I was looking at. So like early 2000s or like, yeah, when we were around like 12 hitting puberty. And people gave me some of the funniest flashbacks to things. Oh, I just need to go through them with you because they're hilarious. Also, if you hear any noise from Josh, if you hear Josh talking, he's okay. He's just playing World of Warcraft. So that's what he's saying. If you hear any like video game lingo, he's playing WoW. Sarah says Mary-Kate Ashley / Buffy the Vampire Slayer was like her first kind of like style icons, and she included photos of the oh my god, the CoverGirl eyeshadow singles, the Revlon cream shadows. What is this? Oh, the Mary-Kate Ashley crayons, and then lip lights. Lip lights. Oh my god. Oh, and then it was coffee scented. Oh, I had this. Caitlin says Avon from my mom. Court says, I wanted to be Avril so bad. I also had a pale pink shimmer powder, like a proto highlight thing that was an absolute unit, and I had it for 6 years. Africadaver says, I used to sneak these because I was not allowed to wear color cosmetics when they came out, but I really can't love lip colors that aren't flavored because Megabyte lipsticks have such a hold on me. The Megabytes from Jane, I guess they had flavors? Mother of the Monster says, I love watching my grandmas and my aunts getting ready growing up. Then I saw The Craft and The Crow and knew that was more of my genre of makeup. Davey Havoc during AFI's punk era was also a huge influence. I didn't even get into like the emo and punk and like goth kids because like, yes, this was also huge. Like, I could do an entire video just, I will do that. I'm gonna do an entire separate video. Oh yeah, like punk, goth, emo makeup. Brain, Abigail, keep that one. Elizabeth says, excellent question. For me, it was the Maybelline Cool Effect eyeshadow sticks. I had those things in every color. They were my ride or die in high school. Cool Effect Cooling Cream Eye Color? What? Water-based formula chills on contact? It's cold eyeshadow? What is it? Cold eyeshadow? That's amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh god. Oh, the frosty kind of like purpley bluish lip. Oh, what? Cooling effect eyeshadow? I don't remember those. I remember seeing the images, but I don't remember ever using them. Moon Girl Jerica says, junior high, my friend lined my waterline with black eyeliner and changed my life. I went from black eyeliner and then added eyeshadow in high school, eventually mascara. That's how we started. We started with eyeliner. We didn't know anything. We didn't know how to do anything with makeup in the early 2000s. Y'all are so freaking lucky these days that you have tutorials and things to watch on the internet to show you how to do your eyebrows. We never would have overplucked our eyebrows if people had been telling us all along not to do it. That's great. I wore black eyeliner and it changed my life, and then I added eyeshadow and then mascara. Rose says, okay, so I remember it was Christmas. I was maybe 12 and I got a set of baby soft perfumes with 3 different colored caps and these thick lip glosses that smelled like vanilla cupcake. They were like silvery pink and purple. Probably 2000 to 2001. Oh my god, that's the most 2000 to 2001. Silvery pink purple lip gloss. I was in 8th grade. I had a black NYX pencil liner and I put it on my waterline. My life changed forever. Thank you, Boba Fart. Things by the Burke says, my first memory of going out and buying non-kids makeup was a CoverGirl Outlast lipstick, and it was very 90s brown. Yes. Oh, I guess, yeah, CoverGirl Outlast had one of their liquid lipsticks as well. Erica says, CoverGirl baby blue eyeshadow and a Maybelline stick concealer. I didn't know what in the F I was doing. Yes, we didn't have liquid concealers. Concealers that were in a stick in like a lipstick tube. Those were our concealers. We had waxy lipstick concealers. Oh my gosh, I had one of those. Renee says it was the Sabrina the Teenage Witch magazines for me. Picture of Sabrina's Secrets. There was a whole magazine of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Purple and silver eyeshadow. Learn how to use your silver eyeshadow inside. Wait, did you get purple and silver eyeshadow with the magazines? That's so cool. See, we only had magazines. We had magazines and pictures and our moms and our friends' moms and our moms' friends to tell us about makeup. We knew nothing. We would see people like J-Lo and Mandy Moore wearing these beautiful, at the time, based on our opinion, these really cool eyeshadow looks or this cool makeup, and then we would try to do it at home, and then it would be just the worst representation of it. Happy Little Mushroom says, let's see, American Idiot by Green Day came out in September 2004. I think I was around spring 2015, 12 years old, and my interests were black pencil eyeliner, black Halloween lipstick, and this face powder that would make me look paler than I was. Yes. Love it. Ella says, I always was a fan of Maybelline lipsticks, accessible and affordable, and I remember getting my first foundation from them too. Definitely Maybelline and L'Oreal and CoverGirl were like the big 3, and then Revlon as well. Because Like I said, Sephora didn't come out until a little bit later, and it didn't really hit mass appeal until a bit later. And because there wasn't stuff like YouTube showing us what products to use and what there really was out there, all we had was what was in the drugstore. And so we just picked stuff off the shelves and saw what worked and what didn't work. Victorian Nightmare says Dream Map Moose and Hilary Duff in the Lizzie McGuire movie. Yes, that as well. When the Olsen twins had their So Little Time show. Lip Smackers had a lip gloss that was mocha flavored, and it had a light brown nude with metallic swirls through it. I was obsessed. Honestly, I would still wear it if it was available. Lip Shake. I also had Lip Shake. Everything was food flavored. Lacey, my love, says, okay, there was an As Told by Ginger episode where they go through her mom's makeup, and I remember being enchanted by it. Yes, that as well. Oh my gosh. We had cartoons to go off of. Cartoons. We did not have YouTubers telling us how to do smoky eyes. We had 2D hand-drawn cartoons getting us into makeup. We're lucky that we came out unscathed for the most part. Someone just said, this queen was the catalyst for me, and it's just a picture of Jennifer Lopez. I'm pretty sure she was the catalyst for a lot of people at that time too. My friend Amber says, I know you probably won't want to hear from the geriatric millennial. Yes, I do, Amber, who got into makeup in 1994. I was 12. I was a MAC fanatic from the very beginning because I'd read in TV Guide about how my favorite TV characters were wearing MAC lipstick. I'll crawl into my coffin now. Bye. I still appreciate you, and I love you, Amber. Yeah, TV Guide and magazines and stuff would talk about what people were wearing, and most of the time it was like MAC, because that was the makeup artist. That was the widely known makeup artist brand. Thank you everyone for sharing your first makeup memories with me, because that was very fun. I think mine was probably like the flip gloss thing. I think it was the flip gloss, something like that. It really was fun looking back on like the products and the things that were kind of everywhere and in everybody's bathroom, or everybody's parents' bathroom in the early 2000s. Like I said, I was 13 in 2002, and I got into makeup much later, so I wasn't even wearing much of this. I wasn't even like using much of this. We were all watching the TV shows and seeing what people wore, but I just never really thought to do it myself, because I was like, I don't know how to do that. I don't want to do that. It is interesting looking at how a lot of those trends are kind of coming back 20 years later, because trends are very like cyclical and very on like a timer. But it was all very futuristic. Like I had touched a little bit on earlier, how stuff like Xenon Girl of the 21st Century and a lot of those kind of futuristic stuff, we're looking at times like right now, which were not accurate to how things ended up being, but it was still looking at that sort of spacey futuristic vibe. Now it was like the year 2000, like it was a new millennium. Like, wasn't the Backstreet Boys album just called Millennium? And then like Willennium, like Will Smith had a record called Willennium, I think I own both of those, maybe. I don't remember. Everything was so metallic, but you had teenagers who didn't really know what they were doing at all, because they just saw pictures and videos of their favorite pop star and their favorite celebrity on TV. And they'd be like, oh, I'm going to try to do that. And then we overplucked our eyebrows to the point where people are still like, they don't have eyebrows. Makeup in the early 2000s was actually really fun. It was really frivolous, really weird, really kind of over the top and futuristic and bizarre, and just a lot. The self-tanning, the sparkly everything, the frosted everything, just the over-blushed. We wanted so much color, but very little hair on our face. There's more room for bronzer if we pluck out more of our eyebrows. Right? That makes sense. I'm totally fine with a lot of these trends coming back when it comes to color cosmetics. The fashion trends, some of them I would prefer to stay gone, like super low-rise jeans and butt floss. That kind of stuff, I would rather it stay gone. But when it comes to the makeup, like, yeah, we were having fun with it. We were having fun with it. It wasn't super serious. It was sparkly. It was shiny. It was frosty. When I think about makeup decades, even ones that like I didn't live through, like if I looked at ones from previous decades, I feel like the early 2000s, like that Y2K era of makeup, is just so fun to look back on, because it's ridiculous, but it's not like objectively bad. So I'm here for it. I am here for all of that stuff coming back. For today's song of the day, let's pick a song from the year 2002. Let's do I'm With You from Avril Lavigne from her first record. But it was the same album that Skater Boy and Complicated was on. It was good. It was fantastic. She was the coolest girl. She wore like baggy jeans and like suspenders that she didn't actually wear, and then a tie, like a white tank top and a tie, baggy jeans and suspenders. Oh my god, the coolest girl. I will have a little bit of an announcement coming either later this week or in my next video regarding a second channel, so stay tuned to get excited for that. Second reminder to subscribe if you are new here and would like to see more of me. I'm glad to be back. Thanks for letting me take this little time off. I desperately needed it. I really desperately needed it. So thank you for bearing with me and being patient with me. But if you would like to follow me elsewhere, my Twitch is Abbers without the 07, and then my Instagram and my Twitter are both Abbers07. So if you'd like to follow me there, that would be great. Let me know in the comments down below, kind of a similar thing to what I asked people on Twitter, like what were those first kind of makeup products, those makeup moments, and those like just things that really sparked your interest, or even just if it wasn't something that you continued doing, but like your memory of makeup from when you were younger, from around this time period, if you were of age and remember that time. Obviously, if you're like 17, you're not gonna have a memory of that time because you weren't born yet. But if you remember any of this, let me know. And even if you don't, what was your first makeup memory? Like if it was something that had to do with YouTube, let me know, because I'm always interested. I always like thinking about that stuff because it's such a personal thing and so different for so many people. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope you have a good rest of your week. Thank you again to Warby Parker for sponsoring today's video. I very much appreciate it. You guys should go check the links down in the description below. And yeah, I'm glad to be back. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.
It's a good thing I have these Warby Parker sunglasses. Oh no, now I look, it's the brightness of the sun.
This isn't gonna look right.
That's fine. It doesn't need to, because it's for comedic effect. Glasses, Warby Parker. warbyparker.com/Abby. Link in the description. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so that you know each and every time that Abigail posts a new video, so you don't miss it, because you don't want to miss it.
Put one on your head.
We're doing it real big here at the Abbers 07 HQ. A lot of weight on my nose.